My informative speech is about SeaWorld and how they mistreat their animals. Don't give me that look. And how they mistreat their animals. Now, I should go ahead and tell you that I'm not here to persuade you. This is an unpersuasive speech, but I am going to be telling you what they do to their animals. So if it comes across as persuasive, I am truly sorry. It's not meant to be that way. I'll give you the information, and you can judge for yourself whether you feel like still going, which is perfectly okay, it's within your right, or if you feel like you don't, which, after all this stuff, I wouldn't feel like going, but that's just me. So, we were never out to shut down SeaWorld, but they should spearhead the evolution and evolve us out of animals for entertainment. Gabriella Copperthwaite, which is the director and producer, basically, of Blackfish, the controversial film that just came out. It's all over Netflix, theaters, and currently destroying their stock of SeaWorld, exposing the terrible truth about what goes on with these animals and all their lives. Awful stuff.
Move your laptop in front of you. You have to look back away from the audience.
Okay, so I argue SeaWorld's treatment of animals as a former SeaWorld pass holder. We would go there, my older sister and I, since we were little kids. She went there in a stroller, I went there in a stroller, and then we grew up walking around those parks. It was our Disneyland. It was our vacation. Every summer, we would go there. Now, SeaWorld is a family-oriented place where children of all ages can go and learn about the beautiful aquatic creatures that live in our world's oceans. But residing underneath the surface lurks a dark, troubling history, and animals fall victim to this. Now, the viewer can be sure that they will hear the mistreatment of animals, and some content could be disturbing. So, please understand that some of these slides aren't meant to show your kids. So if you're going to do this, find some child-friendly stuff if you want to pass this on to anybody else. SeaWorld is a company that does not put the animals first, causing harm to their inhabitants. You can find plenty of these supporting what I just said. Find tweets from celebrities saying that they're all about the money, including Cher, who recently put out a statement about it. That's clearly what they're all about. Tilikum, one of the largest whales in captivity, was originally captured for money. That's exactly what it's there for. And their terrible breeding process that I'll talk about later in this presentation is just adding more to that. So clearly that's all they care about. The animals are overworked and unhealthy. A dolphin with pox is forced to continue and to perform, even though it's unhealthy to do so. A veterinarian that recently went into SeaWorld to see how the animals are treated, their everyday lives, the medicine that they give them in their fish, the vitamins that they put in it and feed the whales and the dolphins. It's all unhealthy, unsanitary. The Dolphin Cove was recently shut down because of how human oils could touch the dolphins every day. It started generating pox to those animals, a bad skin infection. And here's a picture. The dots on it, that's from the oils from our hands. After, being touched every day by people who aren't sanitary, tons of kids walk up, feed them fish, and pet the dolphin. Parents get a great picture. They didn't wash their hands. They've got, butter from their popcorn and everything. It's not sanitary, not healthy. Another health issue, the animals are constantly stripped away from each other, put into different pods. Pods considered for whales, they are like going to a different country. So if I was to take my little sister and put her in Africa without telling her anything about anybody in there, giving her anything to let her know the language, it would not work. She would go in there, no one would understand what she's saying, there would be conflict. She's just an outsider going into their group. Oftentimes, that's what happens to these animals. The animals fight for dominance, but they can't escape each other, causing serious injuries and sometimes even death. In the wild, dolphins can come up to each other, fight for dominance. They can go away. That's fine. The ocean's a big enough place. Not in these tanks. These tanks are so small. Every article that you read about a wild orca whale, they swim up to 100 miles per day. That means they have to swim 1,900 times around their tank to go up to 100 miles per day. When the dolphins and orcas are held in captivity, aggressive dominance are a common occurrence. Often in captivity, the animals fight for dominance, and there's really no place for them to get away from conflict. Dr. Rowley, veterinarian, which is the same veterinarian I was talking about when bringing up the pox and the dolphins. Here's a picture. This is a picture of a whale trying to get away from another whale when they had a conflict. She hit her chin on the gate, the metal gate, trying to escape, and it caused that bad thing that you see there. I don't even know what you'd call that, it's so deep. This, dolphins, they also fight for dominance. They bite each other. And that's the marks from their teeth. The act out. Besides being unhealthy and overworked with no reprieves, some whales tend to act out. Tilikum is a prime example. The biggest killer whale in captivity with a very violent history. Having a long history in captivity, he also has a trail of 3 deaths under his belt. Is he an aggressive whale? So why would they use him for breeding? As I said, it is a very, very unhealthy thing that they're doing. These animals are overbred. There are often stories coming across on the internet. If you want to go look them up, SeaWorldFullOfHurt.com. That's a perfect place to start. It'll show you the twisted ways they've started doing this. If you start reading the tale of the Iliad and the man who killed his father to marry his mother and had kids with her, it's almost that same sickening tale. Female whales often die from being overbred, causing the baby whale to die with them. The whale breeding program is unnatural and causes health problems, even death. As I said, there are 37 orcas who have died because of this, 62 bottlenose dolphins, and 16 miscarriages and stillborns. It's not right, it's not sanitary, and it should be stopped. If there is a whale that already has an aggressive trait in him, why would you use that to breed? Because he's there, and they don't have to spend money doing it. They separate pods from each other, they separate the babies. When they separate the babies from the mother, and there's a recent study going on that you can go online and look, SeaWorldFullOfHurt.com is a perfect place to find this information. You can see there's a recent connection that people have put with orca whales, that they have the same relationship that human mothers have with their kids. You wouldn't separate a baby from her mom, so why would you do that to a whale? It's not right. They did that to one of the calves in SeaWorld. They separated the whale to give her to another park. So what did that mother whale do? She fought to get to her kid. They didn't let her. They separated them with nets in the pool. They took the baby whale away, and then what did the mom do? She swam over to a corner, and the other whales tried to come over to her trying to comfort her, is what onlookers thought. Then she let out a screech. Someone heard it on the mic, because they have mics in the pool to hear the animals, and they figured out this shriek, this loud shriek that they've never heard a whale give out in captivity, was a shriek that's supposed to go long distance. She was trying to look for her calf. This is terrible. That calf was probably overbred in another park and eventually died at the age 10 or under. If you go to SeaWorld, they'll tell you they let whales live as long as they live in captivity, probably even more. That's not true. You ask a professional at SeaWorld in front of the tank, how long do they live? They'll tell you up to 30 to 50 years in our tank, which is the same amount that they live in captivity. Not true. Go out to the wild, ask a whale specialist. Here's what they're going to say. Male whales live up to 70 to 80 years old. Females, 80 to 100 in the wild. Collapsed dorsal fins, not happening in the wild. It's a sign of an unhealthy whale. Here's an example. This is one of the male whales. Doesn't matter if it's the brother, doesn't matter if it's a son, doesn't matter if it's an uncle, doesn't matter if this whale is part of another female whale's bloodline. They will still breed, they'll start the breeding program with this. In fact, 2015, they want to expand their breeding program. This should be stopped. This is not okay. The closing. This is just a few of the problems that happen daily at the SeaWorld Park. If you want to get involved, there are protests, change.org. You can see what you can do on SeaWorldFullOfHurt.com. Best place to go. I hope you found this informative, and now you know the other side of the tale. This is a sad life for our whales in captivity. And I am going to quote the Bible. If you're not okay with this, turn the video off. When God created Adam, he let him name the animals and then gave them to his care. We are supposed to be taking care of these animals, so why aren't we doing it now? So if you still want to go to SeaWorld with your kids this summer, feel free to go on and do it. If not, I hope this really gave you something to think about and chew on. Thank you for watching.